I'm not gonna tear up. I'm doing makeup. Okay. So, hey guys, it's Jennifer here again, and today I'm doing a quick get ready with me / story time / discussion. So here we go. With everything going on surrounding the whole YouTube shooting and Parkland and all of these random lone shooting events, like my husband and I got into a deep debate the other day about, is this now our way of life? Is this something that as a society we're just gonna have to get used to happening? As we were talking, I started reflecting back to my own experience of just being at work, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, being where I'm supposed to be, doing all the right things, and yet and still on that day I became a victim of gun violence. Or no one thinks that it'll happen to them, and it happens when you least expect it. A victim of a robbery in which a gun was used in the process. A bank robbery. I don't understand why eyebrows takes so much concentration. I just tried to talk while doing my eyebrows. Fail. It's dried, so I'm just gonna go ahead and set it with powder. Okay, so when I was graduating undergrad, I applied and landed a job as a bank teller. I wasn't ready to like go out on my degree yet. I always knew what I wanted to do. Like I knew what career field I wanted to go into, but I just wasn't ready. My career field requires some maturity and a lot of patience. And coming right out of college, I just wasn't ready to do that yet. And I'm just gonna like have fun. And plus I had also landed a job at a local radio station. My last year of undergrad, I interned at the radio station. And then after I graduated, they were like, okay, we can keep you on to work and help with production. So I was also doing that, and that was a lot of fun. Also, like, it's a radio station. So I'm gonna continue to work at the radio station part-time, and then my day job will be working at the bank. So I was having a lot of fun doing that. Okay, so I have been working at the bank for about a year and I loved it. I was doing fantastic. They're really big on sales. I was kicking butt in sales. Like I was selling so many bank products. I was doing fantastic. And I was making a lot of commission off just selling products. So I loved it. You know, my undergrad major is actually in the humanities, like English, history, communication. That's my strength. And so that's what I got my degree in. But when I started working in banking, like I was doing really good at just as a salesperson. Like every month I was the top selling teller or whatever. Like I don't know, it was just so much fun. Like I even shocked myself. Like, I'm horrible at math. Y'all know I can't count. If you've been watching my videos for a while, y'all know I can't count. Anything dealing with numbers, I'm not good at it. But anyway, I was doing a fantastic job. Surprised myself. So yeah, I quickly realized that handling money was like a small part of the job. Our main focus was selling money market accounts, selling CDs, selling investments, selling loans, and I guess we all know how that turned out. It didn't even feel like work. I'm gonna make some progress on my makeup. And I am using the, what is this? Oh, the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia. And like I only bought this palette for this one color, Tempera. Like this is my favorite matte light shadow of all times. Like this, it was in the Modern Renaissance palette and I hit pan on it. And then I'm going to use Dusty Rose right here as a transition shade. I hope I'm saying that right. Y'all know I don't know all the makeup lingo, but just like to blend everything out. And this is definitely a daytime look. No one thinks that it'll happen to them. When it happened, it was the furthest thing from my mind. And just, we were all really close. We were all friends. Like it was just a fantastic work environment. We never had any drama, like do favors for each other. We would give each other rides home if, you know, one person needed it. Y'all, we were really, really tight. So it was a small bank, but like we were really, really tight. As a matter of fact, I still talk to some of them today. And we had no reason to suspect that we would be robbed. There was no warning signs, no indicators, like no one was casing the place. There was no suspicious people around. We were literally the happiest go lucky group of people ever, and one day I'm not gonna tear up. I'm doing makeup. Okay. So, oh God, why am I getting emotional? This is so weird. And I think the reason come on. The reason why I'm getting kind of emotional now is because when I think back, those are some of the happiest times of, you know, my post-college, you know, adult life. They were some of the best group of people that I could ever work with. This still happened to us. When I think about these lone shooting events happening in, you know, YouTube headquarters or Parkland, you know, school shootings, and I think I know what it feels like for everything just to be going great 1 second and then utter hell and pandemonium the next. Okay, so let me do my eyeliner because like I feel my hands getting sweaty. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and put my lashes on and finish my eyes because I'm not sure what my emotional state is going to be by the end of this video. Okay, so 1 minute we're happy-go-lucky, everything's going great, and then the next minute oh, Maybelline Fit, and this is coconut, $3.55. On this particular day there was about 7 or 8 of us in the bank. For some reason I was the only teller on the actual like front teller line. Wait, I know why. It's because that particular day the other girl was a part-time teller first to leave. When the robbery happened, it was close to closing time. I was the only one on the teller line. One lady and her kid in the back, they had just finished applying for a loan, and so they were coming out. So when it happened, the other teller that had been working with me at the time, and then she was on the front line, like cleaning up, doing whatever our closing duties are. Like that's what she started doing. The little loan officer, he had just finished closing a loan with the lady and her son. And when it happened, they were walking out of the office. Oh crap, let me hurry and put this on. So all of a sudden, the man bursts through the doors. He's wearing all black from head to toe, face covered up, gun in the air. He runs in, he yells at everyone. Y'all know what time it is. And he has like a bag in his hand. So of course he told the loan officer and the lady who had just finished closing the loan with her kid, she told them to get on the floor. Everybody needs to get on the floor. Says some things to them. You know, get down. So he makes sure they're down. The other teller, hands up. Like he, you know, he told her put her hands up. And so he comes straight to me. He puts the gun to my head and he says, put all the money in the bag. I remained calm. People asked me like how I felt during it. It was like having an out-of-body experience. Everything happened so fast. It's almost as if I didn't have time to feel. It was definitely scary. I just did what he said. That's all I could do. He didn't say much except put the money in the bag and rushed me and, you know, kept the gun pointed at my head, and I was just putting everything in there. So I think I remember at the end when I had put everything in there and he was like, you know, is that it? You know, looking at me like that better be it. And I was like, you know, yes, it is. Like he bent over to like look inside my drawer, you know, to see if it was there. But I was like, for real, like that's it. Like I would never, you know, that's it. I gave you everything, you know, just that fast. Like he yelled some more things at the people in the lobby and he ran out the door just as fast as he ran in. That was that. Like, what just happened? There was this moment of just silence and looking at each other and just trying to get over the shock of what just happened. I couldn't even speak. It was like having an out-of-body experience, and I'm like watching myself. but it was almost like I was mute, like my voice had been taken away or something. Eventually, at some point, I come to and the gravity of the situation sets in. I really should have told this story, like sitting still. Like, I am not ordinarily an emotional person, but at some point, everything hit me and I completely fell apart. That was the first time that I'd ever cried in public. I just fell apart. I began to process what had just happened. Just a normal, ordinary day 1 second, and then chaos, hysteria, fear, the next. And so, of course, eventually the police arrive and each one of us gives, you know, an account of what happened. They separate us and interview us independently. And of course, you know, we had to tell our stories a couple times to a few different people. Of course, that part is intense. Law enforcement, you know, they tried their best to be as gentle as possible with us, but at the same time, they had to do their jobs. And they said that the guy had left on foot, so they had other officers patrolling the area. You know, they moved. They were actually, you know, they moved pretty fast. Like before 6 o'clock, they knew where he had dumped his clothes and into what area he was headed. And the bank I worked in was located in like the downtown area. It happened, you know, right before 5 o'clock rush hour. So there was a lot of people out. So they were able to kind of get somewhat of a lead on where he was headed. We all agreed that he was very young. I know like half of his face was covered, but just his demeanor, his body type, the way he spoke, you can gauge a person's age through other identifying factors while not being able to see their face. All gathered that he was no more than like 21, 22 years old. I'm okay with telling you guys this because he had, like, the case is closed. Everything that I'm telling you was in the local paper, so it's not like, oh my gosh, she's giving out sensitive information. Shortly after the robbery, we thought that he had acted alone, but they knew enough to know that he didn't act alone. There were other people assisting him, but they just didn't come inside. I actually moisturized and sealed my hair last night, and I used more water than I wanted to. I knew it would still be kind of damp, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this into a bun. But I'm going to keep my twist in because I want my hair to be kind of wavy when it dries. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is undoing each twist and then retwisting it in the direction I want my bun to be. So now I'm twisting each twist in the direction of my crown because my bun is going to sit right on the top of my head. So fast forward 6 months, they caught the guy. It was classic good old-fashioned detective work. They knew early on that it had been connected to a string of robberies that was going on in our city, and that there was a group of young guys who were going around robbing different businesses. They also knew that if they caught one, then they would have all of them. So eventually they did catch one, and they threatened them, offered him a deal, and that one snitched on everybody. They all took plea deals and admitted to it, so I didn't have to stand trial, thank you God. By that time I had been transitioning to the next stage of my life. I had applied to a master's program and had gotten into it. I always had looming in the back of my mind that when they caught them, there was a strong possibility that we would all have to stand trial, and I just like did not want to relive that situation over and over again. I was just ready to move on with my life, you know? Like, thank you God. I was so happy that it was like finally over, case closed, in the past. When it all came out, like they were all really young, 20, 21, 22 years old. and they all threw the rest of their life away for about $200. Anyone who's worked in customer service knows that there's never a lot of money on hand. So the fact that they threw the rest of their life away for $200 is just, even as the victim, that part, you know, is tragic to me. They could have made $200 cutting grass. The dude in my neighborhood who cuts people's lawns, he gets like $60 to $70 a yard. You go to work, you go to school, you're where you're supposed to be, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and yet and still, just like that, you can become a victim to gun violence. Like, is this our way of life? Things are going great one second and then chaos and mayhem the next. We shouldn't have to live life that way. You never know how it's gonna affect you. Some of us had to have therapy afterwards, whereas others of us kind of bounced back fairly quickly. I took about a week off from work after that. They told me, you know, I could take a month off. Like, they told me that there was resources that I could have used to assist me. Sitting at home doing nothing, I feel like would have made things worse. Like, I wanted to get back to normalcy as quickly as possible. And finally, I just want to close out by just letting you all know, like, just be vigilant and aware of your surroundings, because no one thinks that it'll happen to them, and it happens when you least expect it. Don't live in fear. I don't want anyone to live in fear. I'm not living in fear. Take care of yourselves and one another. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next upload.